Welcome to the 2023 Las Vegas Challenge presented by Innova Disc Golf. We are on the Innova course for round 4, and we've got our MPO chase card here. Everybody's still in it, still with a chance to win, and I'm very excited to see this. I'm Andrew Fish, joined by Nathan Queen.
Yeah, I'm excited to be out here as well. First event back out here in Las Vegas. We get to watch all these players attack the premier course of on this property for the second time today. You see Paul McBeth sitting at 21 under, Andrew Presnell, Garrett Gurthie 20 under par, and Drew Gibson with a hot round at 19 under.
And since we are in Las Vegas, you can see a bunch of players who have busted already. Paul McBeth sitting on 21, and a couple guys who probably shouldn't take another hit. Paul McBeth, we saw him on this same course in round 2. We know he's going to be putting with those Lunas, throwing 3 different buzzes, and the wind picked up a little bit, so expect to see a lot of forces for him for those distance shots. Andrew Presnell, new to the card. If you haven't seen Prezi before, he's not going to blow you away with distance, but he is very consistent as a thrower. Comfortable with hyzer and anhyzer releases, good jawbreaker focus putter, and he's got a green drone that breaks out.
Yeah, and we all know Garrett Gurthie is one of the distance kings of our age. KC Pro AVR for his putter, going to be throwing that Color Glow Rock 3 a lot for the upshots, and most likely see some Firebirds and Destroyers from him. Getting into Drew Gibson's bag, Penrose. It's going to be his putter, leaning on the buzz a lot for upshots, and I think we'll see some Halo Bosses and Halo's Destroyers for those big long distance shots.
Yeah, neat to see Drew, one of the few pros right now who's throwing a truly mixed bag, while the other folks are single manufacturer sponsored players.
Yeah, and getting straight into hole 1. Really got to get a birdie to start your round off today. 353 feet. Fairly easy forehand shot.
From Huntington Beach, California.
And conditions pretty favorable, although there is some gusting wind. It's going to play as a forehand on this hole 1, and then reasonably favorable for the rest of the front 9. In round 1, we saw McBeth kind of pop his drive up and flirt with the right side out of bounds. This time, no issue.
From Ozark, Missouri, Andrew Presnell.
Yeah, I don't think you can start it off a whole lot better than that. Gets it to spike just behind the basket. Not even going to have to worry about that win for his putt. A note
out
about
of Missouri, longtime discraft player, almost all backhand.
Yeah, that was going to be my note about Presnell there. He doesn't throw many forehands, and if they do, they're usually not off of the tee. Unfortunately, not quite able to line up that backhand just right.
Double G with a couple different options as he steps up. Gonna play a big white spike hyzer. This is the height you're looking for to kind of kill your speed as you match your angle at the green.
And rounding out your chase card action from San Tan Valley, Arizona, Drew Gibson.
Yeah, and that's a high-level shot from Garrett there. Very difficult to do that. And really get the distance right, get the angle right.
Yeah, in a way, moving this hole shorter by about 30, 40 feet from previous years has made the backhand more challenging. Gibson, last year's champion, also looking to swing. However, he's going to play to the inside of the pine tree as you approach the basket, scoots out to circle's edge or so.
Yeah, still good to get that disc to slow down there inside the circle. A lot of the time you see those scoot on away on this green pretty fast and sloped down to the left. Good sit.
Can't quite get the height right on that, but gonna sit, giving Gibson a pretty routine 3. Garrett with a great start to his round.
Yeah, birdie on hole 1 is what you need to do. Out here on the final day trying to make a push for the win at the first Pro Tour event of the year.
Absolutely. And you can bet that all of these guys are, you know, kind of looking ahead more than behind. Like 10th place is whatever to them. First place is what everybody is chasing. Hole 2, a par 3 at 270 feet. A relatively low ceiling and narrow line. Nothing really in the way. I expect to see a lot of mid-ranges thrown on backhands for everybody. Just trying to play one good skip and then nestle probably left side of the basket.
And this is one of the holes that you're going to get a little bit less consistent ground play on, I believe, also. A little bit of dirt, a little
Nicely
bit
done
of
by
root.
Paul. Leaks it inside a little bit.
Garrett also leaking that inside just a little bit, but gonna get up there close to the pin.
Drew with a little more dedicated flip up. That's ideal. And I noted that you're going to look to be a little bit left of the basket. I think that matches where these trees line up best. If you try to pin it, it kind of brings the right side hill as Presnell's going to fly right over top of that. Brings that hill and another tree into play. But everybody inside the circle looking for their birdie here.
Paul able to connect. Got the first 2 on the round again today.
And solid in center too. That's the kind of McBeth putt that says, I'm coming for blood.
Just a bit low from Garrett there after a good putt on the first hole.
Gibson on track, gets his first birdie of the round, moving him to 20 down. And Presnell looking to even out after that bogey on 1.
You can see how calm that flag is on top of the basket right now. Something these players really need to enjoy while they can. You never know when that wind's going to pick up and start getting swirly like we saw yesterday.
For sure. And this is one of the flatter and more protected greens on the course.
Moves us into hole 3, a change from last year, turned into a true island hole this year. 260 feet. Gonna see some right-hand backhands. Pulling it out wide is a good play to control that distance. Make sure you don't go long onto the cart path. See some low straight shots also, maybe with a little nose up, so they have a slight finish.
Paul with a really good reaction off the top of the little knoll. And you can see good width, keeping it relatively low to stay out of the headwind and crosswind, and rewarded with a 12-footer.
Yeah, drew a little bit lower. Gonna get a little bigger skip. Still gonna be inside the circle. Pretty easy putt. About how you want to draw it up on this hole. If you're outside the circle, you haven't done something right. This is one of those ones you really need to be in the circle and make sure you have your good look at.
Yeah, and that's something not quite right for Presnell, is just hanging it too wide. If you're going to swing it that wide, it's got to be nose up so that it's got plenty of time to swing back to the left. Double G going Firebird, his more overstable one, but catches the inside corner. Good hustle by the spotter. Again, we really appreciate how many volunteers and staff go into making this event possible. Just spotters with really good attitudes, and supporting the crowd control. We had a couple hundred people following this card, and many more following the lead card and gathering throughout the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Big shout out to all the volunteers out there. I'm sure Garrett appreciated that green flag. I was pretty fortunate to not roll down into the OB area, as Drew able to get 2 in a row now. Or no, I don't like 2 in a row. I'm going to change that and say Drew able to get back-to-back birdies there.
And I observed that Presnell was going to this straddle putt more often this entire round. He's more of a stagger guy with a nose-up kind of spin putt, but I'm told that he switches to this when it's windier to control that nose angle.
Hey guys, Paul McBeth here. If you get a chance, go over to check out paulmcbethfoundation.org. We got some cool projects coming up. We can always use donations, whether it's financial, disc, or even just manpower. Anything helps, so check out paulmcbethfoundation.org.
The Wombat 3 pretty much goes right where you want to throw it. One of the most difficult shots to throw in disc golf is a perfectly straight shot, and the Wombat 3 does that really, really well.
Hole 4, a par 3 at 384 feet. There's a triple mando off the tee, and then a lot of open space between you and the basket. There is an out-of-bounds line to the right and then long, and this hole is going to play with a pretty steep crosswind left to right today.
And what a great shot from McBeth there. This is one of those, with that left to right wind, this is where you really want to see this right-handed backhand on a hyzer just kind of pushing to the right the whole time. A really fun and interesting shot to watch.
A little more technical line is this flippy eagle that Gibson is throwing. He starts on a hyzer, knows it's going to drift over and have the stability to get back. Very, very well done, high-level shot.
Yeah, Presnell with the
Great
good shot
drive by
also. He's able
Presnell.
able to get up there inside the circle.
And Double G just going to trust stability. He's going to do a little flat to Anheuser release with a Firebird. That hugs the right side a little bit, but able to finish inside circle 2, basically pin high to the right. However, his hyzer putt doesn't suit this very well, so he's going to spin a little bit, and I like the effort.
And Paul looking to go 4 for 4 here.
We saw him with a rollaway on this very hole in round 2, but not this
No
time.
rollaway.
Dead center.
Showing you why he is the 6-time. Has nerves of steel. No memories of that rollaway before. Gonna go 4 for 4 today. Already making a push up the leaderboard into a tie for 3rd.
Well done by Gibson. And both these guys making the push that they're going to need in order to challenge the lead card. Kevin Jones started the day with a pretty substantial lead. And I think the dream here is to build yourself a cushion before you get into the harder back holes that are, real challenge to score on in these conditions.
Oh, and Presnell catching a little bit of that headwind there, getting more lift than he expected. But is able to make the comeback putt for par.
Gurthie in for his par. And that's our last par 3 for a minute.
Yeah, brings us into hole 5. 642-foot par 4. They've added some OB down the left side trees this year. Got this OB green in front of the basket and an OB cart path all the way down the right side. Gonna see 4 hands off of the tee. It is a possibility to go big backhand flex. Also try to get some big distance down there. This is
McBeth
a little
skying this
right.
forehand a little bit. You could see a little disgust in that. Very similar to what he had done in the previous round, round 2. Drew actually going to try to swing a backhand. I think that's a mid-range to the wide right side. No harm, no foul, though, in the fairway.
Yeah, very short play there. He's going to have a pretty good distance still to carry to the basket, but it is reachable.
Presnell trying to follow that same line, catches exactly the same tree. And it can be a little pinched on that right side. Gurthie with a T-bird and a little extra distance, also snookered on the right. But the longest drive of the group.
And Drew, you don't see this too often. Going up high to the right side. Ends up a bit long left, but I think he's going to have a circle 2 look for a birdie.
Presnell says, I can do that. But notice that he gets it a little lower, a little more driven. Doesn't let the wind pick it up. So that gives him a putt from well inside the circle instead. McBeth to a Raptor forehand. You want this to just scoot off the green. And nestle.
Not too bad of a roll there. It's going to be inside the circle still. And this is something Garrett's been working on. Bit of a touch forehand. And he's going to get up there right around circle's edge as well.
Not sure that Drew could quite make his body commit to what his mind wanted there. Effectively a layup. And Garrett with kind of a tough wind for his putt. Can't convert that one.
5 for 5. We've got final round McBeth on the card. You know he's always there to make a push. Oh no.
I think hands on head is about the only appropriate reaction there. He kind of did everything right. Maybe a little high left, but sure went through a lot of chains to get to that backside.
It sure did.
Hole 6, a pretty short island hole at 222 feet. Water all the way to the right and then line to the left, short and long. I expect to see 4 backhands thrown with something a little bit overstable, trusting that they're going to fight back at the end. McBeth to his zone. And he really slows down both his arm action and the spin on that. Kind of lets the wind take it and then falls out of the sky.
Yeah, and he read that wind drop perfectly. Place it pretty much underneath the basket.
Gibson equally capable. He's a little faster and more direct, just kind of throwing it into the ground.
And a little less nose angle on that one, making it go fade out a little bit harder. Got a little more skip on it. Still going to be a circle 1 look.
And this is the hardest circle 1 putt you're going to see. 30 feet, headwind, crosswind, no problem.
Nails it.
He's so good with that spin putt at keeping it in the catch zone of the basket for a really long time. Like, that's the advantage of the spin putt in the wind.
And he definitely has an interesting style spin putt. It's one of those putts, like you said, keeping it in the basket. Sometimes I've watched him putt where it's never high enough until it gets to the basket. Just the way that he has his nose angle. It's pretty wild to watch, but definitely fun.
Yeah, I will always advocate for players who have something unique about their game. If we all do the same thing, golf isn't fun anymore. So I appreciate that Presnell is doing it with a little bit different flair.
Thanks for tuning in to Gatekeeper Media, guys. Big thanks to anybody who's ever supported me. Thank you to my sponsors as well. And give me a follow on Instagram at Prez017. Yeah.
That brings us into hole 7, a 417-foot par 4 with OB and hazards everywhere. If you know disc golf, you know this is Garrett Gurthie's hole. So maybe he can channel some old energy here and we can get another ace Batross, as what it is now called.
McBeth, stable driver. He was out of bounds in round 2 on the green. This time skips hard off the green, and
oh no.
You hear him begging for it from the tee, but that's going to be out of bounds and send him to the drop zone. Not really a miss, just couldn't get it to stop.
Yeah, that is a brutal roll. He pretty much dialed that up perfectly.
Gibson going to go a little bit wider, a little bit spikier. Still on the green, but you see how that kills the speed with the extra width and spike. And that'll earn him an eagle putt from no more than 10, 12 feet.
Yeah, that'll put you on eagle watch right there. Take a replay of that. Just enough power to pretty much put one angle on that disc, and like you said, that one angle is going to help it slow down when it hits the ground.
Presnell has a good pro arm, but not quite the power of the rest of the card. And this looks like it's just a little too high out the hand, not driven enough. So he finds the short left sand trap. He will be putting for 3 there as a hazard. And you gotta love the crowd shouting for him to do it again. Gurthie also looking for his 3.
Yeah, just a little bit wide there, but not too far off. And OB strokes that aren't in these hazard bunkers do go to that drop zone Paul just threw from. Left it a little short, but not going to be much issue for him.
Yeah, and you can tell that Paul has practiced that shot. Nathan, are you a responsible disc golfer? Do you practice your drop zones every time?
Oh man, the first thing that popped into my head was the Tour Championship, rewatching it, talking about how I never played the drop zone on hole 2 that I had to throw from in the final round.
Oh man.
So, no, I guess not. Not in that case, but most of the time I do throw from the drop zones.
Yeah, it's a good habit to build, like just to know your course rules as you're playing your practice round, so nothing surprises you. McBeth is known for like not taking advantage of the rules, but knowing the rules so that he can play everything out correctly. Gibson
As
for the
every player
easy
should.
eagle.
Yeah, and with McBeth carding the par right there, that evens them up for the round.
Hole 8, kind of a blind downhill par 3. Everything's going to move to the right. The most intrusive out of bounds is the cart path to the left, but there are houses and fences to the right. Backhand turnover is an option, with flexing out being the real danger, as well as forehand possibilities.
Yeah, and the correct mistake there, turned it over just a bit too much. Still might have a look. That looked like it was going to turn over a bit earlier than it did, but may have carried into circle 2.
This is Garrett's Color Glow Rock 3, the more beat of them, but with the tailwind, even that can't turn over enough, so he will be putting 3 from just outside circle 2. In round 2, we saw McBeth kind of sky his forehand. Let's see if he can correct from what he had done on hole 5 today as well. This time well driven, plenty of width.
Yeah, nice shot. Should have a look for a birdie. And just to reiterate what Garrett did right there, this is a 400 and pretty much 20-foot hole that he threw his Rock 3 long OB on there. Just wanted to point that out in case anybody missed it.
And Presnell going drone. I promise that's an overstable disc. He's just worked his in so much. And Garrett, that's a round saver. That's a round starter. However you look at it, this is worth a replay.
Yeah, what a way to get a 3. A lot of people are going to be impressed with his OB drive because it was a Rock 3, and then says, well, I'm going to make this putt just to make sure you know I'm a good golfer. Gets out of there with a par. Great save.
You see Gibson a little frustrated with that. That's a couple putts he's missed low. Hole 1 and now hole 8. Nicely done by Prezi, capitalizing on the drone drive.
Yeah, also very difficult to do. Like you said, drone, you don't hear people throwing drones too often, and that might be because Presnell has all of them. Just because you don't see them too often, but he's beat them into where he can do whatever he wants with them. Able to card the birdie here, and McBeth back on track also with the birdie.
Really neat example of disc cycling, both Presnell with his drones and Garrett with his premium plastic rock threes.
And that brings us into our final hole on the front nine, 641-foot par 4. Got to hit this gap on the tee with a little bit of nose up angle to make sure you fade before you get to that tree line on the right side. Once you've done that, it's just avoiding that bunker that's right in front of the green. There is some OB behind it as well. So the farther you get, the easier that distance control is on the second shot.
A little bit of tailwind here. McBeth goes slight hyzer release with something to flip and smash, smash. That's way out into the fairway. Presnell with the same kind of concept, slight anhyzer release to get that glide. And nothing wrong with that. Since he's likely to go backhand, that will mean he has to throw over the sand trap and try to stop on the hill.
Definitely a much more difficult approach shot having to go with that backhand. Since the basket does sit on a hill, it slopes down right behind it as well. And with that backhand, you don't have the hill in front of it to stop it. So very difficult to get that distance right. As you see, Drew doesn't quite get the fade he needed before hitting that tree line on the right side. Going to be in a difficult spot there.
Yeah, that's kind of a big power problem to bring those straight trees into play. Garrett says those straight trees don't exist if I throw over them.
Oh my goodness.
And that's almost testing circle 2. Drew a little pinched and gonna go over the out of bounds, over the sand trap, and curls into circle 1.
Awesome. That's a great recovery shot.
Wow. Chain high run from Presnell. But out in
He was
circle 2,
not gonna
possibly
go in that
obstructed by
bunker.
the tree on the backside. McBeth to the zone. Hits the front side of the hill and flirting with that out of bounds.
And
Nathan, have
Garrett,
you ever been here in one?
oh man, not a chance. Not a... Almost brutal there after just trying to pitch up for a par.
Ripping headwind. Flag is dancing. And oh boy, McBeth into the hazard.
And that's going to take away that bogey-free round that he was working on.
Drew does capitalize on his look. And he's going to finish the front 9 at 7 down with 2 missed putts. McBeth drops back 1. He's at 6 down, 27 overall. Garrett takes his time, even on that short putt. Good example of using his routine to quell the nerves. Presnell looking for his 4.
It's not a putt you can really afford to miss after a drive like that. Gotta make sure you take your time and don't let your happiness off the drive get you ahead of yourself on the putt.
For sure. So you see McBeth climbing up into a tie for 3rd. Kevin Jones out in front by 1 stroke over Barella, and our chase card putting some work in. Really looking forward to that back. And Nathan, I should say, although I really enjoyed doing commentary with you, there's a little different flavor on the Gatekeeper Unplugged channel. Going to be debuting this tournament starting early this week.
Yeah, make sure you guys check that out, and we'll see you out there on the back 9.